Meeting to order this morning. Ms. Boyle is going to lead us in a prayer and pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we pray to you this morning for your guidance and wisdom as we begin this meeting. As always, we thank you for the daily blessings you give us. Please continue. Help us become closer as a group and make the best decisions possible for our students, teachers, staff, and the entire community. You alone know our weaknesses and our strengths. Please heal those that need you in those areas. Make us each kinder and more compassionate to one another, for we don't know anybody's daily struggle. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hogan, do we have any changes on the agenda this morning?
Yes, Madam Chair. F, presentation, school presentation, I left out the O typo. And on the superintendent approval, page 2, ESOL tutoring, I left off the names, but I take them in your book.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. Now's the time for any public comments. We want to welcome everyone to the board meeting this morning. Oh, I'm sorry.
We just need a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Welcome to the board meeting this morning. Now is the time for public comment. Does anyone have any? Yes. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Allen, and I just wanted to come here this morning. First off, good morning to you. Just come here and share a recent experience that my oldest son recently had. He's an 11th grader, he's a junior at Chiefland High School. And just to ask you guys if you wouldn't mind re-examining your dual enrollment policy. So Hunter was recently enrolled in a dual enrollment math class over at Santa Fe College, and he struggled in it, okay? And he didn't struggle because he's a bad student, didn't care, or didn't try, but he was really kind of ill prepared for that level of course. And we learned it a little bit late, okay? So as everybody in this room knows, when COVID hit, everything kind of shifted to online. And Hunter continued to take his classes online. He was taking his math classes like everybody else and was doing exceptional. So we had no indication that he would struggle so bad in this course, okay? So whenever the opportunity presented itself for him to take this dual enrollment course, we asked for him to be able to go to Santa Fe because it was in person, it wasn't online. And this is where the struggle began. It happened pretty early on in the course. We hired tutors for him. We attempted to tutor for him, and he just wasn't grasping it. He wasn't getting the material. So we had a choice. He was probably going to end up with a D in the course. So we ultimately made the decision for him to withdraw from the course, go back, get a different foundation, and then retake the class. Okay. Now Hunter currently has a 4.2 GPA. He's had numerous dual enrollment courses. He has a 28 on his ACT. So he is, in my opinion, a high-level student. And he's still pushing really hard to improve both those. His goal is to get into a top-tier Florida college. Okay, he has very high, lofty goals for the future. So we reached out to Santa Fe. They've invited him back. We reached out to Central Florida. They said they would not have a problem with him coming back. But the problem is that he's not allowed to take any more dual enrollment courses per a policy from Levy County School Board. So we started off and we worked through guidance. We went through the principal, went through the district office, and their hands are really tied because of the policy. So we have a kid like Hunter, who's college bound, who's done exceptional. As you see, a 4.2, 28 on the ACT, that's going to be limited in his ability to take any more dual enrollment courses. And as you guys know, Chiefland High School is very limited in the courses that they offer. So we feel that this is very limiting Hunter's ability to be competitive on his college applications. So we are simply here today, or I'm simply here today to ask you guys to re-examine this policy. We were told that it was due to funding, that once you either withdraw or fail from a course, that it's funding related. We offered to pay the school board back for the class that he took, and we were told that we weren't allowed to do that. So that's what I'm here for today, to see if you guys will take a closer look at this and see if there's anything we can do. All right, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys have a wonderful day.
You too, thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, we have a school presentation from the Bronson Eagles.
Mr. Bennett, we can pull up the PowerPoint, will be over here, or over here. This screen? Okay, just so they can see it. All right, come this way, guys. Want you to walk and come over here. All right, I am Miss Heredia. I teach 5th grade at Bronson Elementary School, and I'm the sponsor of the Eagles Helping Others Club. These are some of my club members. If you guys will introduce yourself.
Elijah Logan in 5th grade at Bronson Elementary School.
I'm Layla Smith from 3rd grade. I'm Bristol Corvat from 3rd grade, and I participate in the Eagles Helping Others Club.
My name is Trey, and I am in the 4th grade.
My name is Braden, and I'm in 4th grade.
My name's Jenna, and I'm in 5th grade.
All right. They are going to share with you a short PowerPoint on what our club is, what our mission is, and what some of the activities we've done over the last 2 years. Trey, you're going to start?
The Eagles Helping Others Club is an after-school club for 3rd through 5th grade students dedicated to planning and participating in various community service projects throughout the year.
Okay. And Bristol?
The Eagles Helping Others Club collected over
You can go closer, baby. 875.
875. I can't really see.
Go closer.
875 of peanut butter during this fundraising challenge.
The Eagles Helping Others Club honored veterans with a Veterans Day luncheon at Bronson Elementary School. Veterans honored during this event: Miss Carnell, Miss Stevenson, Officer Wilkinson, Miss O'Neill, and Mrs. Gardner.
Who's doing the food drive? Brayden? You were excited about this one, right?
The Eagles Helping Others Club hosts an annual Thanksgiving food drive to benefit our local food pantry, the children's table. In 2020, the Eagles Helping Others Club was able to donate over 600 Thanksgiving food items. The Eagles Helping Others Club wrote Valentines to the teachers and staff across Bronson Elementary School campus to spread some love while also practicing their letter writing skills.
The Eagles Helping Others Club members volunteer during family learning nights to assist families.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us here. It's always a pleasure to come see you guys. I could hardly sleep last night in anticipation of this, you know. It's always fun to get to see your children shine, and they are my children. So First off, I'd like to remind everyone that all children want to belong to something. They want to be a part of something. I can assure you that children that are a part of something make better grades. We have, I've seen none of these children in my office for discipline reasons this year. They like to belong, and it's important as adults that we teach children to give back, not to just their school, but their community as well. And so these young women and men here are doing a fabulous job of doing that. And I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about what they like best about it. I got to speak to two of them yesterday and said, what are you guys going to say tomorrow? And they told me, and I said, remember that. You got to repeat that. So I'll start with Miss Gemma. Miss Jenna, what do you like best about the Eagles Helping Others Club?
You get to give back to the community, and you get to stay after school, and you have the best teacher ever, Miss Heredia.
She told me that yesterday too. Braden, what was your favorite activity, and why do you like this club?
Well, I like how we donate a lot of stuff to the people that don't have the resources that we have.
Very good. Very good. You hear that? They don't have the resources that we have. And so these guys have a big heart, like Miss Heredia has a big heart for our community and our school, and it just does my heart good to see them. They're always a positive influence. They're a positive influence on the students around them, their peers, the younger kids at school, and I just can't brag on them enough. I'll get all of you a chance to talk. Okay, so be thinking. I talked to those two yesterday, so you guys be thinking. Okay, Trey, what do you think?
I just like helping others in the community, and that's exactly what the Eagles Helping Others Club does.
Okay, Bristol.
I like being able to help the community and being able to help others who don't have what we have. I want to make the world a better place.
Very good.
I
Miss
like
Layla?
being able to help homeless people in the community.
Okay.
I just like to give back.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And you can imagine that these are wonderful students to have in your classroom. They make really good grades. They're the leaders on our campus. And this is, there's not a lot of opportunities to get elementary children involved in extracurricular things. So let's get them hooked now with something positive so that they're on that right track when I get to send them across the street. So does anybody have any questions for these young guys?
How do you recruit? How do you recruit other students?
I sent them a permission slip the first meeting for them to join the club, but I don't close it because oftentimes the kids are either unable to come at the beginning or they're like, I'm not sure what that really is. And then when kids get involved, they want to come. So as long as they have a permission slip that month, they can come. So I might start with a big group and it dwindles down, or I started this year with a smaller group and I've had more students join as they've completed more projects. I spend the first part of every meeting discussing what is community service, why do we do it. They all have a community service log. If they complete any community service outside of the club and log it, they get recognized at the end of the year for the number of hours that they've served in the community. So the level of participation varies, but I just keep it open.
That's great.
And of course, transportation can become an issue because they have to stay after school a few days. So
I think we need to also say that last year we had this club, but this year, Ms. Ray has actually had to break it down into grade levels because there were too many children that wanted to come help.
right, and with COVID,
So, and we had to break it down to get those groups a little smaller, a little more manageable, and pretty much according to what they can do. Because a third grader can do way different than a fifth grader.
Right.
So
It's worked out
She's done a
better
really
that
good
way if any other schools were interested in starting a club like this, because they actually are able to complete more activities. I had my third graders in charge of the peanut butter challenge, and at the same time, my fourth graders were preparing for the Thanksgiving food drive. Last year, we did a jacket drive when we were able to give jackets to students in need at the school. So I can have different groups working on multiple activities. We've partnered with the 4-H UF Extension Office is who the peanut butter was donated to. We've partnered with the Children's Table. We have a nursing home that we work with in Gainesville, and the VFW the local post here in Bronson. So we're trying to continue to build those partnerships in the community and serve them based on their needs.
So the article that I passed out to you guys was printed in the Gilchrist County Journal, and we appreciate them for covering Bronson Elementary. But this was a partnership with the Peanut Federation of Florida, and it was a matching challenge for every jar of peanut butter collected by students. Then the Peanut Federation matched it, and it was given to hurricane victims. And so in the Gilchrist County Journal, it says a Levy County school, Bronson Elementary, posted on Facebook that students were running a peanut butter drive. As the UF-IFAS Extension Office later found out, they were collecting the peanut butter as part of the peanut butter challenge. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade Eagles Helping, it says Eagles, but it should have been others, that's okay, group managed to collect 875 pounds. This astounding collection helped give Levy County the narrow lead in the UF-IFAS Extension Northeast District, just 4 pounds ahead of runner-up Alachua County. So we did, put Levy over there, and I'm all about putting Levy over the top, So.
And the kids said that they felt famous because they were in the
paper.
They were very excited.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for letting us come today and share with you a little bit about the things going on at Bronson Elementary and what great things that our young people are doing today, because we hear a lot of negative, so it's nice to hear some positive that our young people are doing today. There's good kids out there.
Yes, we're all proud of you. That's right.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Axel's not here,
I know it, of all days.
so I'll say his famous line. So I know some of y'all's mamas and daddies, so, but anyways, I know that he's proud of you guys, so.
And I'd like to also add, Mr. Cowart, that the Thanksgiving food basket was started by your mother many years ago at Bronson Elementary, Miss Phyllis Cowart. And we have tried to keep that tradition ongoing, and we do it every year, and we think about her and appreciate all the years of service she put in to Bronson Elementary and the Thanksgiving food basket.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Who's
And now we have a presentation from Chiefland Elementary School.
This side, okay? All right. Good morning. Nice to see everyone. Great to be here. We did not bring our students, but we are going to cue them up in just a second. Our topic, I brought Kaylee Spina with me. Hi.
Morning.
Thank you. Is that a little better? I brought Kaylee Spina with me. She's many things at school. Her primary job is one of our PE coaches. She runs PBS for us, and she's working on her master's, and she's part of our AVID leadership team this year. So I thought it would be good to bring her along. So without further ado, I'm going to let the video do the talking.
Looks like this. I'm using Lane's Avid Marker. Right away at the beginning of the year, we really focused on the Avid commitment. I felt like as a teacher that the Avid commitment that was pre-trained was a little bit too advanced for my students. So luckily over here is the same Avid commitment, but in a little bit easier to understand words. We really focus on this every week. It says moving up for your own hard work, and that's the Avid commitment. This ties really nicely in with the student planner I'm going to show you. You can see within the binder, there are many, many components. The first one that you see are some folders that I'm going to let a student explain in just a few minutes. This is the planner. It's heavily used, and the Avid commitment that's on the front ties in nicely with the weekly check-in that we do with our planner. So I'm going to show you this week as an example. So we had no school on Monday. It was a Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, so we had no school. There was a holiday. And you can see assignments kind of written in for the student, but what I really want to draw your attention to are these goals and success checklists over to the side. Because one of the boxes that a student is required to check every week is that they demonstrated their avid student commitment. And it's kind of the third box down here. And if there's other check-ins too, but just constantly having that kind of accountability for students is very helpful. It asks the student, did they read? Did they get their iReady minutes? There's a spot for parent signature, assessments coming up, things like that. As you can see me writing things as they come due, I ask my students to always write a goal for themselves across the bottom, and then they can check whether they met it, yes or no.
Hi, Laney, and I have a simple question. Can I show you how we use in our Everybody Learning Center? So this is my take-home folder. I put all my take-home stuff in my folder. Every time I do that, I grade it using activities and I cite, this is my science book, and I use it when I'm in study. My questions on my test and several texts, but recently I'm trying to learn about electricity right now. This is what I use for my math. This is my most recent thing. I can multiply fractions. This is what we're learning right now. And we wrote all of this. This is my real this is my summary page. This is the most recent thing. The Oreo and this which I use for writing. This is my pressure so that I can use it for this writing. This is definitely things that like I can just do this or I use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Perfect. Do you feel like that acid binder helps you stay organized as a fifth grader?
There. It helps me a lot. I'm going to show you how we use our binder one thing. Here is our planner. It has our goals for the week, our stuff that we have to study for, our homework, and our reading log down here, our reminders, and then our parent signature, and our iReady minutes. And this is our science notebook. It has our science notes that we have to study in it. And then our yellow folders, which are for stuff that we have to study. And then our blue folders is stuff that we have to do. This is our words and reading. We have to study these all week. So this is next week. This is for our papers that have to be signed and our passwords.
All right. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this binder that I'm holding and what you just saw in that video, but this is a big old binder. And if you can imagine fourth and fifth grade students toting this thing around, you are like, wow, that looks extensive. However, when I think back of, when I was even in college, if I would have had these tools for organization, I believe that I would have been much more successful in my my AA, my bachelor's, and then finally on the long stretch with my master's, I'm finally getting it all together. But this is just such a great tool for these kids. And I love that even though AVID is, advancement via individual determination, we're able to break it down for our elementary school students so that they can understand it. And when you open this thing up, Chiefland Elementary, Miss Homan worked tirelessly this summer to design our personalized planner so that our kids could have something that was meaningful for them. Like we have the student checklist here. This is keeping constant communication. And we know that with COVID right now, it's been really hard to keep that open communication with parents. We're relying on a lot of technology still. Parents are less in the classrooms. So this is a great way to communicate with them. I would like to flip. I was showing Miss Homan as we're on February. Hold on. That Lainey even has. I gotta put this in there. Lainey even has in her calendar that the PBS event was on January 22nd. So that made me happy.
She's not gonna be happy. So she even puts in here when I noticed it's funny. Miss Jones, when she's out for meetings, she writes that in here too. It's great.
Yeah, Jones out. That's important to know.
When we developed the planner, we worked with 4th and 5th grade to kind of decide what we wanted to go in it. And one of the things that was a must for me, and most of the teachers too, was the goal. To me, that's the important thing when they're young like this. And since I've been at Chiefland, I've had the teachers do goal setting. It's a requirement that they do goal setting with their students. And it doesn't have to be academic. It might be behavioral or more about I want to make friends this year, whatever it is. But goal setting is huge for kids. And the younger we get, and they do it all the way down to kindergarten. So that was a piece that we really wanted to make sure we included and emphasized in the journal to help get them thinking as they move forward, because goal setting helps all of us, and it's just a good habit to get into, even if you start small with simple things. They don't have to be, big, lofty goals, but we try to incorporate it in there, so that's an important
And
piece.
Grace's, when we were flipping through her AVID binder in 4th grade, one of her goals was to make an 80% on her math test. So for that week. So it's good to see that she has a numerical goal to reach. This is what she wants to get, and she's going to work hard using her study notes in her different notebooks. And then just in our latest AVID lead team meeting, we talked about although we are a school-wide AVID program, we want to carry this down into our lower grade levels where maybe we're not quite to the binder stage yet, but we are incorporating the colored notebooks so that they know, in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, these are our colored notebooks. And then by the time they're reaching, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that they're not, bombarded with this big organizational piece that they haven't quite seen yet. So that's how we're going to integrate that into the lower grade levels.
And it helps parents too, I think, being a parent who had many children, if my kids were starting elementary school and I knew yellow meant social studies for all of my kids, those are little things that sometimes we don't think about that make a big difference for parents. Oh, we know that red's math, and those are all the math things. Little things like that can make a difference for them, and it helps them organizationally. So we're hoping to include that. Did you want to say anything about the pennants that you have a little bit more
Pennants, yes. We actually had taken note from when we had walked around Williston schools for various trainings and such that they had the college pennants up. And so I was like, I really want to get this going at Chiefland Elementary. I think it would be a great thing. So it took some time, but we went and created college pennants for each teacher, pre-K, special area. I just got with the cafeteria staff, and some of them have some degrees, so we want it up everywhere and recognize that. Miss Becky Lloyd's 3rd grade class actually has done a campus tour, and they've taken note of where all of the teachers have gone, and then they're actually going to collect data on that, and they're going to graph that data. So, and I'm hoping that maybe 4th or 5th grade will pick up a college project where students will have to research a college and maybe where they would like to go, see what the requirements are to get in, and just kind of get that thought process going and get them excited about that. So
I love this. This is great.
It took me a while when I first kind of stepped in to help play a role with Avid. It took me a while to understand, okay, I get Avid at the high school level, middle school, high school, I totally get it, but how are we gonna incorporate this at the elementary level? And it was really hard for me to kind of grasp it until I finally was able to see and understand the organizational tools and pieces that Avid provides. And I just think that's really wealthy for
And I think for our teachers, it was a little hard for some as well, in not making it another thing, and try to show them, like, a lot of what you saw in there, the organizers that students use in these journals, they've been doing that. That's not anything new, but it was organizing it. And now we're kind of drilling down into making it more vertical, where we're just a little bit more organized about it, versus it kind of scattered. So taking a lot of what we're already doing and just streamlining it better to make it more useful for the kids and for us too. It helps us. So.
And you're getting the 4th and 5th graders ready for middle school. And my older two didn't do Avid, but I'm telling you, boys, when they get high school, it doesn't matter how smart you are, there comes a time where you have to learn how to do time management and organization, and that's half the battle. And I wish I had done that, because you're just setting these kids up for success. It's great.
And you may not know this, but the teacher and the students, most of the students that were highlighted in that are our ESE students. It was our ESE class, and she's probably the strongest with it, because that's really what they need.
Mm-hmm.
They need structures and organization. So it's good for all kids, but for some kids, it's even more critical to have the organizational skills. So they're really learning some skills, I think, that'll carry them over when they get into middle school. So we're excited about that.
And I like the parent signature in the binder. It's just a good way to check in.
And I like that instead of going with a company and us purchasing planners, I'm glad that we were able to customize it to what our students needed and not get a lot of wasteful verbiage and things that, the students don't need. So I think they've responded really well to it. So we have one for semester 1, and then they switch and they have another one for semester 2. That way it's not too bulky, it's not too much information. So that's kind of where we're going with for next year too.
And I want to thank Macy Thomas, helped us. She's our video expert. She did a great job putting that together for us. We directed her, and she, former student subbing for us, working on getting her degree to teach.
I was going to say, she's going to school for education. That's why Adam stayed.
So we're training her up. So.
Board, I think if you look, so Miss Spina, Miss Jones, Miss Heredia here, so 3 of our leader teachers that are on campuses that are doing a great job and bringing great things that our students are able to be a part of. So kudos to all of you guys. So appreciate all the hard work and the extra things of going the extra mile on how that means to our students.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Is
All right.
Ms. Rollins here?
She's not here.
Okay.
I'm going to fill in here. So you'll see in your packet. So today is the day. So Ms. Rollins is not here because we have wonderful news. Ms. Rollins had her baby last night at 6:24. So Caleb Michael Rollins entered into this world. So, and everybody's healthy and doing well. So she was here a little bit after 2 o'clock and had a 3 o'clock doctor's appointment. And next thing I know, I got an email last night saying at 10 o'clock that we had a baby at 6. So
Wow.
that just goes to show how much hard work that's going on. So Ms. Rollins and our teachers, our secondary and elementary reading coaches in this process of going through, and everybody that's kind of taken the time to look through this. So the recommendation is on the elementary side with 125 votes, 93% of benchmark. So for the elementary standards. And then on the secondary side, it's Savas, so with 23 with 64% of the vote. So, and obviously this is the time where we make the motion to adopt, and then we have 30 days of public comment.
I make the motion to adopt.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes,
Not
sir.
anything, just put, we got basically 130 votes on the elementary side, but 36 votes on the secondary side. Is the committee just built different, or?
So,
I just wondered.
It just is comprised of language arts teachers.
yes,
Okay,
There's less language arts teachers.
smaller pool.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Thank you. It was just. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Lott,
Yes.
for the CMHS construction update.
Yes. Quick update. We're going to show you a couple more videos. I know we're not going to go back and show you the first video again, but video is done by Waypoint. So this one goes the same route every time. So unfortunately, we'll still have that same view of the Ford dealership. But you see Mount McClellan there on your left, still there. It's shrinking a little bit. The road, they've paved it. Roughly paved it. It'll get another coat, a finishing coat later on. You'll see to the left there, you'll see some dirt that's been moved. There's been a lot of infrastructure that's been added as far as sewage and drainage and things that will eventually, once it's in the ground, obviously we won't have to do it. So we're trying to get ahead of this. On your right, there's a big lake. We call that Breezy Acres. I think Breezy wanted to put some catfish in it, but unfortunately it's just went down to mud, so you're out of luck there, Breezy. But at least we know that our drainage works very well because it did fill up quickly. And on the left, you'll see the beginning. You see the beginning of the truss setting the trusses. They were a little behind on their truss setting. You see on the ground where they're staging the trusses. I will tell you that since this video was taken, they have gotten all the trusses on that 400 building. So they are trying to catch back up and stay on schedule. And they assure me that we will be back on schedule. I know they said they didn't care if they had work Saturdays or what it took. They were going to get back on schedule. And I think they pretty much are at this point. You'll see some more, moving some more dirt there in regard that's going to be, I believe, a main sewer line. We're also putting in some telecommunications main lines through this side. And it'll be coming into the back of the cafeteria, which this is the cafeteria. And this was done about 2 weeks ago. So that was the most current flyover videos I had. But they've come along nicely on that one as well. And we're coming back up to our 400 building here. And again, right now, setting trusses, we got at that point then put some metal on the top and get it dried in. And at that point, I think you'll see also to the right, there's another one of those main sanitary lines that are coming through there that we went ahead and put in. You can stop it there, Morgan, and get that next video. These next two videos are a little more just close up on the actual buildings. But there's, again, just the cafeteria. And they have begun, they've made significant progress since this video was taken in regard to the trusses and setting those. And they began setting some of those at this point. So they're on schedule in this building. In fact, 400 building may actually overtake 700 building eventually, or vice versa. Hey, show the other one real quick. And again, there's our, that is mainly, that's all high school. That's what they call the high school wing there that they're building. It'll be a lot of, some CTE classes and some high school classes, and then there'll be additional high school classes that'll come in when they start the next stage of completion. So that's basically the video. Thus far, we continue to do direct purchase whenever possible. We're over $150,000 in savings so far by doing the direct purchase. And that's basically what we save by avoiding the sales tax because we're a government entity, we don't pay that sales tax. So, so far we're staying on top of that. I have to say that Parish McCall has done a great job in helping us with that and working with us to try to save as much as possible so that we can then, buy other things for this project that we may need in the end. So very happy with that. And our finance department, outstanding job as far as processing the payments and the direct purchase orders that we have to put out. it's extra, obviously, extra work that they don't normally have to incur, but really doing a great job there. We began packing up already some of our buildings, packing up things like the media center and some things like that we have to get ahead of this. Begin at the end of this school year. We will have a large portion of the school that we will have to pack up and move everything we want to keep out, because a large portion will be demoed this summer. And we'll be, of course, moving into these buildings and then demoing other buildings. So it's a quick turnaround in that regard, and the staff at Chiefland Middle High School are working very hard to go through things. And they're finding things that have been in closets for 40 years, and things like that. And it's a process, but we're all trudging along and trying to stay on schedule. We don't have much choice. The kids are going to come next school year, and we better have a place for them to educate them. So, do you have any questions on the Chiefland project?
Well, it's wonderful.
It's moving along very well.
And some of the students, Mr. Lott, help at the beginning of the summer for community service hours?
Yes, we already have that lined up.
That's awesome.
Those kids that need community service hours are going to help pack boxes and move boxes and things like that. So, and they already are doing that. So.
The other thing that I'll add to this is that we've started posting pictures to our schools. So for any type of surplus equipment that's there, so they can go ahead and start putting their name on things. And so that's gone out. So Mr. Lott's done a good job with Mr. Brandon Eastman. So putting that and getting that out into our administrators' hands and to our teachers so they can see that.
Yes, all kind of tables, LCD projectors, all that stuff that we can reuse in a different school. We're going to do that. This school will be totally new, so all the furniture is there for the taking, and then a lot of the schools have really jumped on that and claimed it.
That's great.
I don't put air conditioning in every building.
I guarantee you.
Except one.
Up front. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Okay, so you're going to move on to the right of way. As the board knows, we have presented on this before, but the road, which was through resolution by Williston, the city of Williston back in 1974, we owned a road that used to be between Williston High School, the old Williston High School, and Joyce Bullock. And the developer had asked us if we could deed that portion of that road, which used to be, before 74, a public road, back to the city of Williston. We agreed to do that. And in return, he donated a sidewalk and a covering to get our kids from Joyce Bullock down to the track, which is where we now deliver kids through the track and pick them up in the afternoon. Much safer. We got our kids away from the construction. It's in a secure environment. It's better for the kids, believe me. So now we went to try to do our part of the bargain was to donate it back to the city. The city said it was not up to their specs, and so they basically refused to accept the road, and we've worked through it in Blue Rock, and the city have worked through it. So now what we tend to do is to deed it to Blue Rock, and then they can work it out with the city, but we have completed our obligation in this matter. And there's an easement in here. If you look on the bottom of the first page, there's an easement, which would guarantee us access through that road, regardless of ownership, so that we can get to the back of the Joyce Bullock Elementary cafeteria for food deliveries, for trash pickup, obviously, and those sort of things. So that's kind of where we're at. So are there any questions?
You need that in form of motion.
We needed a form of motion approval, and then we'll get signatures, and then we will get this to the representatives of Blue Rock, and they can proceed with the deed as they need to.
I move quitclaim deed as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we need approval of the minutes of the February 9th board meeting. No changes?
Motion to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I know all of you guys have had a chance to look at the consent agenda and talk to Mr. Cowart about it. Does anyone have any discussion on anything? None? Okay. Don't either. So Mr. Cowart, superintendent comment?
Vote on it.
Oh, sorry, guys. Ironing the kinks out.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right. As we said, so Mike Caleb Rollins is here, so healthy baby. So we know that we've had some sad news, so it was a nice welcome, good news that we got to celebrate today. And I think one of the things that kind of struck me in seeing our two student presentations is what a wondrous sight it is to see smiling children's faces. So, and happy and working hard. So appreciate both the schools that presented. I know that Bronson FFA alumni has their Low Country Boil this Friday night at 5:30. So if you have the opportunity to swing through there and get you a Low Country Boil. So, and a couple more things, finishing up CTE month. So reason Miss Carol's not here today is we have our wastewater treatment program has their first field trip. They're on to Chiefland to the city's wastewater treatment. So got six students in there that are going over there to have some hands-on experience. So, and I know that they've already had Mr. Shane Keene from the city of Chiefland has come in and spoken to their class. So they're doing a good job of bringing in people from the industry to kind of share with these students so they get some real world experience. Bronson Middle High School carpentry class is going to be having several trips throughout the Chiefland Middle High School special project to the construction site, seeing different phases, being able to gain some experience. So Parrish McCall has been very gracious to set those up and help with those and allow those students that are in that CTE class. So, and then the last couple things, Cedar Key Aquaculture. So we know that Ms. Carroll shared about forklift training. So we had those students go through there. They're in the process of finishing their OSHA certification. We have hit a little hiccup, so we're trying to get them back out on the lease to check their clams because they do have clams that are growing out there. So we're working through a couple issues to get that squared away so they can get out on the boat and have some more hands-on experience. So, and then Bronson Middle High School, Williston, and Chiefland Middle High School all have students who have qualified for FBLA. And I know Bronson had a huge number last year that then had that pulled away from them. So I'm excited that they qualified for state and that those students will be headed down to participate in that. So, and then the last thing associated with CTE is somehow it slipped through the cracks. But in November, one of our CTE teachers was recognized as the 2020 state CTE Teacher of the Year, and that was Mr. Detloff from Chiefland Middle High School. So he does a great job, as do all of our ag advisors. So, but just a kudos that Levy County had the state CTE Teacher of the Year with that. And then the last two things, session starts next Tuesday, so we'll be anxiously awaiting that. I know we have FSBA's Day in the Legislature next Friday. So, and it's virtual, so we'll get to experience that, a new experience. So, and then the last thing is, this is public school week, and you know, we're happy to celebrate what our public schools, what they mean. You see in our community, you see whether it's sports, they are the beacons of our communities, and they are the bright shining stars. And I'm thankful for people that invested in me as a public school graduate of Bronson Middle High School, and I know we have several board members so that are local graduates, and just kudos to each and every one of you. So whether you're a Levy County graduate or not, so if you're a public school graduate, we just thank our teachers and our staff for what they mean to our students. So and with that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Cowart. Now it's time for board comments. We'll start with Ms. Boyle this morning.
Mentioned last board meeting, the field trip with the FFA students. There were 4 students and we did that this past Friday. It was cold and wet, but we muscled through it, took the cart around, and they did very well. I mean, as young as 7th grade to the junior year, speaking to people, talking about the fair, talking about their animals, making eye contact, and it was successful. I think the community at this point, that day, they received about $345 for the students. So that was very nice to go towards their animals. And they're doing some testing down there, FFA week, so they have a different plan for each day, bringing canned foods, dressing up, American Pride, and dressing up as an animal, all different things. And really, that's it.
Ms. Perkins?
Just all the great excitement about the new school, and the kids still talking about it, and everybody's just really excited about that. And then getting ready for the fair too, and receiving letters and all the preparation doing for that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Etheridge?
It's National FFA Week. Excuse me. I got all choked up about that. It's National FFA Week, so it's kind of, I said they're getting older, getting to look back on, I guess, social media and see, that time. And I was seeing last night, I wasn't part of that team, but in 1992, when Wilson won a national meets contest, and we were part of that. And watching the history that's been done, and then the students now, the excitement they have going on for what's going on. It's a different organization than it was then, but still provides a lot of great leadership opportunities. Fair coming up in a couple of weeks, I think, there'll be over 1,000 entries, I think, over a 3-week period at the fair. Kids that's worked for a whole year on their projects get to see it come to an end, and success behind that is always rewarding, and it's always rewarding to see the people of our economically depressed community show up and spend $1 million on our students on that sale day. So it's always amazing to me to watch that happen. So, and then last but not least, prayers to the family of tragedy this weekend in Williston. Keep those families in our prayers as they're struggling through some tough times.
Absolutely. I don't have much, just to kind of go with what you were saying about the economically challenged. I'm so proud of our county. I mean, Levy County School Foundation, if you look on Facebook, what they've done in the past week with all of our schools is just amazing what that group of people does for our community. And we have in Yankeetown, I know I'm going to butcher her name, Miss Helen's how I know her, but Cialella. She is partnering with the principal, Ms. Purse, and making sure every child has a new book. So Yankeetown's a special place, so that's a big deal down in that community. And also the JR OTC from Dunellen visited last week. A recruiter came from Dunellen and talked to the 8th graders at Yankeetown, and they have a lot of excitement. I think it was last meeting that we mentioned, it's very important to stress not every child in Levy County is college bound, and how important JROTC, military options, vocation, which I hope we work on this year some more. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in Yankeetown. The Masons Club also, I think it was, recognized 2 kids for most impressed and gave them a most improved, and gave them both $100 apiece. So there's just a lot of community involvement going on in Yankeetown, and exciting things to come. That's all I have. And Yankeetown visit after the meeting.
I did forget 2 things. So one was NEFECT Superintendent's Board of Directors had a meeting last Thursday with Commissioner Corcoran and Dr. Hall, the Vice Chancellor at DOE. So it was a good conversation. So I took the opportunity to let the commissioner know that Levy County, Tri-County really would benefit from a standalone career and technical center. So hopefully we can lay some foundation and do some work next week to continue that process to start. We know it won't be tomorrow, but maybe it'll be a bright future for going forward. So for several years down the road, with kind of sowing some seeds that we put in the ground here. So.
I have high hopes for our leadership in Tallahassee to support us in that this year. So.
And then Mr. Lott talked about finance. So, we had the teacher salary increase that went through, and just a kudos to our HR, Miss Tammy Wayne, and Miss Phyllis and Miss Kathy of having to input 336 instructional people on their salary increases and getting that done ahead of schedule. So appreciate them and their hard work that went forward to get that money into our teachers' hands. So.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.